This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Laugh Cry Club. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea. And if you are an imperfect human who laughs and cries, then this podcast is for you.
And we're so glad that you're here. You know, it's been quite a journey. Last week, we gave an update with what's going on with Chelsea and Steve and your family, and this will just continue. So we'll talk a little bit about our updates today and life and our laughs and our cries. If you're new to the show, welcome. We love you already because you're here and you're an imperfect human. We are 3 licensed therapists. We like to talk about topics that are, related to mental health because we have a lot of experience and we can talk about that. So we pick a topic every week and then we will preview something for next week, but we always start with our laughs and our cries of the week. Chelsea, who are you nominating?
Well, I love nominating, and this week I'm gonna nominate the woman with the raspy voice, a little bit of a smoker's cough. She's trying not to laugh because I think it makes her cough more, which could be a laugh cry in itself. Our raspy Rebecca.
Yes.
Hi,
everybody.
Rebecca, sicky Rebecca.
I know it's been crazy. Like I'm not kidding. Day 7 of this upper respiratory infection that feels like COVID and the flu together. I went on Saturday to urgent care. They tested for COVID, flu, and strep. They're like, you're negative, and I'm like, awesome. And basically, gave me a few things, but like you have to ride this out because it's, we can't do antibiotics for this. It's not bacterial. So yeah, it's been really fun. And it's been up and down and very miserable. And actually a few nights ago, I almost woke Robin up and said, I almost wanted her to take me to the emergency room. I felt so bad. It was just like awful. But that's why my voice sounds like this. Not because I've actually been chain smoking at the laundromat with an old woman named Rhonda, or I could be smoking these candy cigarettes that I got over the weekend.
Yes, you
actually,
did.
I did get these at Uranus.
Of course,
I was just going to ask if you got those at Uranus.
Yes. I'm like, I got to get these. I love it. So anyway.
Can you do a video of you smoking a candy cigarette? Can you just do, no. Please do when you're like sitting outside in your chair and I just want you to smoke a candy cigarette, but don't say anything about it. That's what I want you to do.
Yell with the raspy voice at any kids who get close to your lawn.
Your neighbors.
Oh,
yes.
I should take my chair to the front lawn.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can you believe that we used to eat candy cigarettes and pretend to smoke? Like that was the thing when I was a kid.
Smoked them. Yeah. And then you ate it. Like you can eat a real cigarette.
Way to turn kids on, a little soft start to smoking. Wow.
Yeah, it's basically chalk.
It is chalk.
I think probably even in grade school, we'd probably take the teacher's chalk and probably act like we were smoking it.
You smoke
in
it
class.
Yeah.
I'm like, this math assignment is getting too much to me. And I walk up to the board and take a big puff off the chalk.
That's amazing.
Okay.
But anyway.
So you're feeling a little bit better? Question mark? Are you?
That's a question mark.
Oh.
It goes day to day. It's day to day.
I'm
But yeah. I'm on the mend, hopefully. So that's basically my cry is like this up and down. You go from this sandpaper sore throat where you think, oh, I've got strep throat. Then you feel like it's like at night you can't breathe. Your snot coming out everywhere. I mean, one night it was a hot mess. I had a washcloth on my head. I was like, I didn't even have any tissue more. I just like, forget it. I am blowing my nose on my shirt. I can't even get out of bed, and I'm just gonna wash all these bedclothes in the morning. It's probably TMI, but that's how miserable it was. But that's been my cry. And gosh, laugh. I actually have 2 laughs. I forgot to share a laugh from last week at the wedding. There was this So my best friend was getting married, and her nephew was bringing a girlfriend, and her name was Shelby. So anyway, she didn't come to the rehearsal dinner because she wasn't really in the wedding, but they were talking about Shelby, and everybody's like, where's Shelby? Like, it became this thing of who is Shelby? Where is she? We all wanted to know about Shelby. And like, we're all like probably in our close, 40s. Well, actually, we're all like 40s. And so like, she's probably like 21 or something. And we're all like, where's Shelby? She's going to be the life of the party. We just know it. And then I'm like, I wonder, is this Shelby from Steel Magnolias? So then we were all joking because we're all from that era watching Steel Magnolias, where it's like,
movie.
Shelby, drink the juice. Shelby,
drink the juice. Drink the juice, Shelby.
Yes, exactly. And so finally, we're at the wedding. We're on the dance floor, and Shelby's there, and I'm like, Shelby, I've got to ask you, everybody really wants to know, have you ever watched Steel Magnolias? She's like, yes, I love it. I'm serious. She's probably like 20.
Oh,
okay?
Good for her.
She's like, I love it. And I'm like, were you named after Shelby on Steel Magnolias? She's like, I was. And then she's like, drink the juice, Shelby. Drink the juice. What? I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh my gosh,
it was
21-year-old
amazing.
Shelby knows her namesake and can quote a movie.
Totally. And
Love
then
it.
I went back up. I
Good
went up to
girl.
my friend Jane, whose wedding it was, and it's her nephew's who's dating her. And I'm like, so I found out that like Shelby is really named from Steel Magnolias. She's like, get out of here. She is not. She's like, I said, I asked her. She's like, you did? And I was like, I totally did. And so everybody couldn't believe it. But that was a huge laugh. And then
That's a great
right before I got on here, we were having some lunch. When Robin sits down to eat, like all the dogs gather around her. So it's like kind of hard once you're in place and everybody's settled. Like you don't want to get up, right? Because you'll disturb the peace.
Yeah, you don't want to disturb the peace. I totally get that.
Because then it's a whole. Then somebody needs to go back out.
Yes, it's a whole thing. I totally.
It's
get
like
it.
a baby sleeping, and so she's like, I didn't get a fork. I'm just gonna use my hand. I'm like, no, you're not. I'll get you a fork.
Like that's how important it is to not disturb the
She
peace.
was like, I'm just going to eat some mac and cheese. It was mac and cheese.
It wasn't even like a hand food, a finger food. It was like oh my God, that's so funny. I mean, I've
like, I'll
texted
get it.
Scott from like another room if there's dogs sleeping,
you
especially
have?
especially as from puppy raising. I will text him and I'll be like, dogs are sleeping when you come upstairs, because Scott can be like the Kool-Aid man sometimes. Whenever he walks in the room,
Hey,
he's like,
kids.
he totally will be like, hey everybody, or like he starts talking real loud, or like when he comes in, he like doesn't shut the door just kind of slams behind him, and it's like, so I always have to text him and be like, the dogs are sleeping, please be quiet. So I totally get the disturb the peace. Or I'll be like, can you bring me my water bottle? Because I don't want to get up.
Yeah, that was
So
my
she got a
laugh.
fork.
So I gave her a fork because I'm like, we're
Yeah,
not
you
using our
did.
hands in this household. We're not there yet.
That's
So
good.
I'm
That's
like,
so good.
who knows where your hand's been? Like, you never know.
Oh, totally. Oh
Anyway.
my gosh.
Plus, I'm not going to sit there and watch this. Like, you just let your loved ones sit there and eat macaroni and cheese with their hands.
I mean,
I couldn't keep a serious face.
I think it would have been an amazing adventure. I'm all for it. I would have been like, yes, you're going to eat it with your hand.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. And I would have just wanted to see like the first clump of mac and cheese in the hand to the mouth. That would have made me laugh. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I might have waited on the fork. 'Cause that's the kind of loving partner I am.
That's so fun. That's fun. Well, I am going to pass this over to somebody who I can see their new paint job behind them, and it doesn't look terracotta to me. So
No.
it looks like maybe it got repainted.
It got repainted, didn't it?
It did.
It looks
It's
kind of like a mauve
It's
or
just like
pink.
a really soft pink. It
Like
is
a nice.
Yes,
I won't
okay.
even say pastel because it's lighter than that. It's very pretty
Yes,
pink. Some
very.
would say it's a Shelby.
Shelby.
What is it? No. What does she say? It's blush and bashful are her colors.
Oh, it is kind of blush.
My
and
colors
bashful.
are blush and bashful. They're not pink and pink. It's blush.
Do you have a
and
cigarette
bashful.
in your hand, Joy?
This is my chapstick. Sorry.
Ew.
The way you were holding it, though, it was like between your fingers, like you're taking a big puff.
I mean, she looked really Southern. The cigarette and the blush and bashful.
Oh, no.
I mean, yeah.
But what color is it, Chelsea? It's a light pink.
I forget the name of it, but it's something. It's a sweet pink.
Sweet pink?
Sweet,
sweet pink.
Yeah,
Like sweet pea or something. Sweet
yeah.
pea pink.
It's just sweet.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it's really soft. And my house has, every room's a different color. So I have like a yellow kitchen, and the yellow color's name is Joy, actually. How cute is that?
Love that. It's so great.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Joy's in your kitchen.
Yes, and my outside of my house is painted Joy as well. That's the yellow. My living room is gray. The office is pink. I have blue hallways.
Which one's painted after Rebecca?
My house cleaner's name is Rebecca.
What color is that even?
Always cleaning up the mess, being of service. Oh,
Chelsea, I need inspiration from you because I have aversion to painting rooms colors because I just get sick of things so quickly. So I leave everything white and I just change what's on my walls.
yeah, I have always been a color person. I have had mishaps before where they have to repaint over the colors because picking paint gives me anxiety and I don't feel like I'm super great at it. But my home, I call this like the happy house, like where you walk in and you feel happy. Like this is a happy little beach cottage. Like it's just everything in it is happy and joyful and cozy.
That so goes with your personality.
Yeah, this is like my sanctuary. So that is, yeah, it's my safe place. Even when I moved in here, if Steve and I had an argument, I'd be like, we can't fight in the house. Like, I don't want to like mess up the energy in here. Like, we have to go for a walk and like take it outside. Like, I'm very, very protective. If I get like weird, like certain people, like, yeah, I don't want any of that. I'm like radically protective of this space. And it's very intentional. It took me 5 years to decorate this house because I only put in what I absolutely love. There's not just like random I have to like actually love something to put it up. So I'm a weird house person, I think. I'm like somebody who like it really matters. It's really an extension of my piece, I guess. And I'm really excited about. So I haven't put any pictures up yet or anything because I haven't been home, but the pink office is just soft and fun. So my laugh and my cry. My cry, obviously we know the hospital situation. It's been a fucking nightmare. If you can imagine a version of hell, that is my hell. It's freezing in the room. Pain management is off the charts. Steve's cut wide open. We're packing like a 16-inch open wound that I could like stick my hand through. There's no control over his body, like bowel movements, he hasn't walked in over a week now, and he has not been lucid for longer than maybe a few minutes. So he's still full audio visual hallucinations. So I've obviously cried a lot. And I actually feel a little cried out. But my cry was I needed to get home for Miles's birthday. Miles is our son. I could have drove home by myself, but I was so sleep deprived because I wasn't sleeping more than like 15 minutes to maybe like 45 minutes at a time. And maybe the most was like a couple hours because you're just on alert constantly.
Right.
And I was in the hospital, staying in the hospital room because he's been so acute that I did not feel comfortable leaving. Like that was not an option. The only time I would leave is if somebody was with him and then I'd run, grab a coffee, grab whatever. So anyways, so I thought my mother-in-law was with my kids and I'm like, okay, she can come up and she can bring up Miles because Miles, well, he's driving now, but he had his permit. I'm like, and then Miles can help drive back home, like make the drive in case because it's a 4.5 hour drive and it's just safer to have another person with you. And then I thought Steve will see Miles and like remember his why, right? Like you're fighting all this stuff. He's got fluid infection. He's got tubes everywhere. I mean, he is a mess. And before, when he's been that messy, when he was in New York, I had flown out Miles before because Steve will come back. Like it helps him come back. You see your kid and you like pull it together.
Of course, yeah.
And he didn't. And that was devastating. Miles came in and he looked past him because he's hallucinating. So if you've ever been around somebody who's hallucinating, they're not making eye contact, which is devastating because I always talk about Steve's bedroom eyes and how he's such a good eye contact. He's so locked in. He's not locked in at all. He couldn't really talk to Miles at all. And Miles was devastated. And of course, I felt like the biggest piece of shit mom on the planet because I felt like, oh my God, now my kid can't unsee what he just saw. Like now he saw, and that was when Steve was doing better, by the way. Like I only was coming home because I felt like he was good enough for me to be at home for Miles's birthday.
Right.
But it's so touch and go that it's like a few seconds. So I thought like we were like, that was actually the best, the most stable he had been. But Miles having not seen him at the worst, this was devastating for him. And so he just sat for a couple minutes and he was just in tears. And then I was like, do you want to go? And he was like, yes. And then we drove home. We drove home together and it was sad and I feel horrible about it and I feel guilty about it. And I feel devastated that that's how Miles saw him. And I feel devastated that Steve doesn't even know, like, his kid had a birthday. He doesn't know anything. I can't, like, pick up the phone and call him. And I tried to FaceTime him, and he just looks right past me. And it's really hard. So I just feel terrible. You know, I believe he's going to get through this. It's just going to be a long recovery. So that was my big cry. And then my laugh. You know, if you have kids, they just keep it real. Everything about them keeps it real. So Miles has his birthday. Charlie was amazing. She had Miles's buddy drive her around everywhere to get him like a ton of gift cards because obviously he's going to be driving. He's going to want to go to eat. He's going to want to do everything. So I transferred her money. She made sure to do all that. She made him a cake, but they ate all the cake by the time the next day came for his fucking birthday.
Of course they did.
Yeah. So I made him a cake of this like, I couldn't find, he wanted a brownie cake and all I had was like protein brownie mix. So I like smashed up Oreo cookies in it and like put a ton of frosting to like make it cakeish. But my laugh is we went to Texas Roadhouse where they love to go. And I was like, it's his birthday. And she's like, well, do you want us to sing? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want you to sing. But what they do in Texas Roadhouse is they bring out a horse saddle and you ride it while they sing and the whole restaurant's like whooping and they give you a towel to do like a rodeo and Miles did it. He was so pissed at me, but like he was so pressured because they involved the whole restaurant that like he like had to participate.
Like everyone's
quiet.
involved.
He's a quiet guy,
isn't
right?
he more quiet?
Yeah, but he can get a little rowdy. You know, he can. He's got
so
a
cute.
little bit like he can pivot into fun really quick and go kind of nuts. So he did that. And it was just hilarious. Like, he was so funny. He's on this horse thing. She's like, well, he doesn't get a free dessert. I'm like, who cares about dessert? Like, this is amazing. So that was my laugh. I just had a really good time being with teenagers. And, you know, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. All of it's bittersweet and very
it's
tender
the laugh
right
and the
now.
cry and the ups and the downs at the same time.
Yeah, because then it's like you're laughing and then you're like, oh my God, I just took this video and I want to send it to Steve, but he's not there.
Right.
So I don't. Yeah. So then it's like that pain. Like then it goes right into that. It goes so quick. So that's where it's been.
so crazy, like how life can be two things
at once,
at one moment.
So weird.
And we are required. Our brains are trying to just make sense of it. It's so hard.
And it's interesting because I think, you know, I always go back to that body of like that, you know, we talk about that 90 seconds to feel the feeling fully. And if you can do that, then you're just flowing through and it's nutty. It looks nutty. It looks a little crazy. It looks nutty, but it's so normal. Mm-hmm. And thank God for the highs, because if there wasn't the highs, we would just drown. So if you're going through, one of the best piece of advice we ever got was one of Steve's friend who went through cancer. She said, you live in the moments where you feel okay. Like that's where you live to the fullest because you don't know how long you're going to have that for. And that's where I go. I'm like, I need to live as big as I can. In this moment, I am here at Texas Roadhouse with my son on this horse, whooping and hollering and laughing and crying because that is going to end and something else is going to be. And it just is nutty. So,
yeah.
An extreme.
Well, I think I'm so happy that you shared those with us, Chelsea, because let's normalize feeling your feelings, right? I mean, I think that's part of this podcast, why we started doing it, is that, you know, we have the dichotomy of laughing and crying, but it is normal to feel your feelings. And I think sometimes society has shamed a lot of people for feeling them, and people keep them quiet and they stuff it. And so we should feel them. because we have to feel them to move through.
Because feelings are meant to be felt. That's it. We don't have to judge them. We don't have to logic our way out of them. We don't have to do anything. They're just meant to be felt. And when you feel them, that's why we can come back to the present moment. That's why I can be here on this microphone doing this podcast and be here with Rebecca and Joy and our Laugh Cry Club folks, because of being able to continue to go through it, right? Because shoving it, you got to shove something else. You're numbing out. You're shutting down. And so again, it looks a little wild, but that's how we get through. It's not cute. It's not pretty. It's just.
Yeah, I think if we just trust that we will be okay, that feeling, because I think when people hear like feel your feelings, we've said this before, like you just want to feel the happy feelings. We always want to feel happy. That's like the goal, is to feel happy, I guess, maybe. But to normalize, the whole point of this podcast is to be like, yeah, you could go through 5 million emotions in 10 minutes. And all of those are there for a reason. And we have to just get used to the colors of the rainbow, so to speak, of all the feelings being there and existing. So I think about so much what you said last week, Chelsea, around just really, you mentioned meditating a lot and staying in your body and just really trying to understand where you're feeling it, or just kind of like being almost just so acutely aware of what you're feeling in your body. Because if you go to the thinking piece, that's going to lead you down a really dangerous road. And I've been thinking so much about that, because it's such a beautiful reminder and practice to be like, let's get in touch of where we're feeling things in our body. And can we just at least focus on that piece, so we don't let our mind just go to this like racing place of anxiety.
Well, joy, sweet, sweet joy.
Sweet, sweet, sweet joy.
Sweet joy, the color of my kitchen and the outside of my house. Bright, yellow, soft, and sweet. What do you have for your laugh and your cry?
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be nominated and happy to be your paint color. I want to say this really quick, Chelsea, is when you were talking to about feeling guilty, and I just want to remind you, and I know you know this, but I'm just going to say it, is like, you love so hard and you love your family so much that is really what matters, and that is what's felt. And even though it was a really hard time, that love and that connection that you have with your family is what's going to carry him through those hard times, and what's going to carry him through those hard memories. I hope that you know that like you didn't damage him in any way or like traumatize. I mean, that was just what you felt in the moment that was appropriate to do. It was hard to watch him go through that, I'm sure. And so, but know you've raised a resilient, amazing, compassionate, loving, and kind human that will also be able to get through these hard things, because you've shown him how to do that. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm giving you a big hug.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so my laughs and my cries are just, it's so funny. It's silly, you know? My laugh this week was silly. I had my parents in town, and my dad always makes me laugh. He's always going to be like a highlight of my laughs, because it's my dad. And I try very hard not to go to a place of like pre-grieving my parents, as weird as that sounds. Actually, it doesn't sound weird. I'm sure people experience that when they have like family that's aging. But I have this, relationship with them that's just so silly and so funny. And my dad is just a character, and we're making dinner, and I just cherish every moment with them. And I'm just like sitting there, like trying to be present, because I'm like, oh, I love my parents so much. And we're making dinner. We're heating up some soup. We're making some pizza. We're hanging around our new kitchen. I'm just like so happy, because, this house is the reason why we bought it and moved, is to have more space for them when the time comes they have to kind of live with us, or at least, have more support. And my dad has the funniest combination of food. Like, I don't know if you have someone in your life that like puts the weirdest food combinations together, but my dad is one of them. So we're sitting there and I'm heating up some chicken tortilla soup that's like pretty spicy, right? So I'm getting the soup together, and he goes, "Do you have any jam?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Did you say jam?" He goes, "Yeah. Do you have any like grape jam?"
Grape? And it's grape.
Like grape, like fruit. Yeah, anything. And I was
grape
like,
jam.
"To put in your soup?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I sat there for a moment. I was like, "What are you talking?" And I looked at my mom, and she just like puts her hands up like, "You know your father." And so basically what he failed to leave out, or what he failed to include, is that he puts it on his crackers while he eats the soup. I still find that a wildly odd combination, to have like jelly and crackers with your chicken tortilla soup.
That is very interesting.
Isn't that like Great Depression, right? I feel like my grandmother ate grape jelly because it's like the cheapest.
It's the cheapest
you can get with white saltine crackers. I think
1,000.
that's a thing.
Yeah. So,
but the tortilla soup added is just a little bonus.
Just a little bonus. But one of like a folklore tale in my family with a lot of my friends who know my dad and love my dad is that at one time I got them a Vitamix, one of those like big spinny blenders that you can make soup in that thing. It just pulverizes anything. So I got them this blender. I was like, what have you made with it? He's like, yeah, I've been making this great soup. He says, I've been making this great smoothie. And I put some, fruit in there and veggies. And then I put some pulled pork in there.
What?
So now that
he disintegrates the pulled pork and he drinks it?
I just threw up in my mouth.
With a straw? Oh my
Ronnie.
God.
Oh, Ronnie.
So now the joke in my family is, did you want a pulled pork smoothie?
I'm vomiting thinking about this.
I know.
It's
I'm
so
sorry.
Gross.
I know. I'm sorry. It is disgusting.
Oh,
so that's my father. He makes me laugh all the time, and he doesn't even know it. Like, he doesn't even know how funny he is because he's just my dad. Okay, and my cry this week was, do you ever get an existential crisis? Because I had one on Monday, and I was like...
I've never heard of those.
What?
Can you tell us more about
Get out of here.
So my friend and I call it being existential crisis-y. Like, today I'm just feeling existential crisis-y. So there's really nothing more to it other than I woke up just feeling so like lost, and just the question of like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Life is short. Can you live big? And like having all these really big emotions. I always use this podcast as a grounder. I swear it really helps me, where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to feel these feelings today, and I'm not going to try to find a solution, because I think sometimes when I'm in those moods, I immediately know I want to get out of it. I'm like, I just don't want to feel this anymore. Oddly enough, we had this speaker come to our work for Trans Visibility Day. And I don't know if you're familiar with Jeffrey Marsh. They're this amazing online presence coach, speaker, advocate. They talked about life. It was a wonderful talk. But one of the questions they asked when we were doing like a beginning meditation was, and they were so great because they were like, what is your greatest fear? And I want you to really think about that. Like, what is your greatest fear? And so I kept thinking about that, because the immediate answer to this, and this is like we don't need to go down this rabbit hole in my brain, but my biggest fear immediately was, I'm afraid I'm never going to be happy. Then they asked us 2 more times of like, okay, what's under that? What's under that? Like very much almost like a meditative state of like, go deeper, go a little bit deeper. So I think it's just the point of that is like, it really made me grateful for the knowledge of being able to just like stay with that. But also I was just feeling really sad, because there are times when I wish I was just one of those people that like, I don't know, knew what they wanted to do and just had that like one job for the rest of their life and like was okay with it. But I think I just have to come to terms with the fact that I am a seeker on this earth, and I'm like constantly going to be looking for other things, bigger things. But there's always this level of like never satisfied that it talks to me. That's something I think I want to put on a shelf, because I think we can talk more about like your inner critic next week. I think that's a preview, a little teaser. That was my cry. It was a little bit like, you just want to like jump out of your skin, because sometimes feeling human feels really weird. Does that make sense?
Well, because we're meant to have meaning in our lives, and we derive meaning from relationships. We see this with work, because we spend so many hours at work. It's like you want
That's
the work.
So true.
Some people are like, I really want this work to matter if I'm going to be spending this amount of time. Other people are like, I don't care. I just need to get a paycheck. And then,
totally,
my meaning comes from the time I have after. But I think, we all need to have meaning in order to show up, right? Because what are we doing all these steps for if it doesn't mean anything? So I think that's very normal. An existential crisis. People go to therapy for this all the time, right? Like, what is my purpose?
What is my purpose? Yeah.
Yeah. And we lose parts of ourselves. I always say like the simplicity of therapy is we have all this shit covering us that we keep collecting all of our life. And then to come back to our true selves, we have to shed that. In order to shed that, sometimes we need space to shed that. But when you're doing all these things, how do you create space?
How do you create space?
Yeah. So to your point, Joy, like how do we go back to feel the feelings to get to start to make some room? Because we're never going to think our way to the solution.
Oh my God. Right? Say that again.
We're never going to think our way to the solution because without creating space. We have to create space for something new to come in when we don't know. If you know what your values are, you know what your meaning is, you know what it is that you're working for, then you're not in an existential crisis. But if you're in an existential crisis, it means you've lost a little bit of your way. Things are layering up that are not working. And so when we want to shed that, we're not going to think our way through that. I think it's Einstein. Like you're not going to solve the problem with the same brain that created it. So we have to loosen the brain. We've got to give it some space.
That's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
That's such a good reminder. Yeah. I love that. And I was thinking about Michelle Obama has a new podcast with her brother Craig, and she talks about this all the time. And I love that she really highlights this because we can so easily compare, and we live in a world where everyone has something we want, and we're just like, oh, I want that life, or oh my gosh, whatever, like they're doing this and I'm not doing that. And she constantly reminds people that things don't matter. It's truly like living into your values and figuring out like how you want to show up as a person and what kind of friend you want to be. Like those are the important things in life of like being a good person and developing relationships, not the things. And I just love that that's something that she's really trying to advocate, because she's like, so many people project onto me that I have this like great life, and like Barack and I have this like perfect relationship, and she's really tries to make people like, okay, put your feet on the ground. That's not real life. Like this is what real life is. So that, to your point too, of creating space is such a good reminder. So thank you for that.
Oh, okay. Joy, magical joy. When you do find that meaning, oh my gosh, I love that. That's so fun. I can't wait for you to shed and then come back and tell us what you are doing.
I will report back, and I accept the challenge, if you will, and the challenge to make space. And that's, I love that, because I can be really hard on myself around, geez, Joy, you have all these things. Can't you just be grateful? You know, why do you always have to be unsatisfied? And so it's like, okay, let's just put that down for a little bit. Let's just put that down. We can talk more about that next. I feel like a heavy topic coming on for next week. So let's move on.
Joy is like, let's pivot from that topic.
Let's take the attention off. Let's take the attention off of my issues of my brain. And we had a wonderful listener question. Thank you for asking this question around what is dismissive avoidant attachment. We did talk about attachment styles a few episodes ago, which you can go back and listen to, but we didn't go into dismissive avoidant attachment style. There are many attachment styles. We kind of glossed over the main ones, but who wants to kick us off? Chelsea, do you want to kick us off for dismissive avoidant and what that is, and maybe potential behaviors, triggers, etc.?
Sure. So when we're looking at distant or dismissive avoidant, some people even call that ambivalent. There's different ways for the dismissive part. But when we're looking at that, that's an attachment style that we know our attachments start off in early childhood. The environment is where emotional needs have not been met consistently. That's how we end up with the dismissive avoidant attachment. So you might have a distant caregiver. You might have somebody who's emotionally distant. The child learns that their emotions are ignored or they're like discouraged. So like think about like the suck it up.
Yeah, like heavily criticized, like a parent that criticizes a child.
Yes, or they want them hyper independent, right? Like the kids never, they need to learn the hard way. I always say this with parents, like you don't need to your kid doesn't need to learn the hard way because life's going to be hard enough. Like you don't have to give them those at home. Like they're good. The world will take care of that for them.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. We don't need any of that.
We don't need any additional. No. And so they believe that it creates this belief system. We see this, like people are hyper independent, right? They're more comfortable relying on themselves than they are relying on another human because they even see that as weak, right? They've learned that that's like, we see this a lot with men. with that kind of toxic masculinity of like, don't cry, do it on your own, buckle up, like that kind of punishing type.
Yeah.
And then there's that rejection. You have emotions, and then the parent can be really rejecting, right? Like you're a crybaby. Don't cry like a little girl. Like those things can happen, and it can also be rooted in neglect. So we see that as well. Like a parent who's just absentee, they're neglecting. The child learns that their needs are not going to be met. And then I would say the last one is, again, that self-sufficiency. We also see this with overachievers, high performers. So people it's like they're getting the good grades, or that successful athlete. They're getting rewarded for that independence. And the American way, we really tailor this kind of like independent, you're an island, do it on your own. But the truth is we are social beings. We are not meant to be doing this on our own.
Right.
We're just not.
Right.
So that's kind of a recap of that's kind of like childhood, where that kind of is rooted. And then I guess we can kind of go back to the group about like, what does this look like in adults?
I think about the scale. There's like these, and I can even post this graphic when we release this episode, but there's a scale of kind of like the 4 quadrants where someone who's more of the dismissive attachment has a negative view of other people. So instead of a positive view of people, which kind of puts you at the more secure attachment, you have a more negative view of others. You have more of a positive view of yourself, but maybe aren't as trusting of other people.
Yeah, I think I would really tie that word negative to that distrust. Like we're suspicious. Like,
totally.
What is this person going to do? How are they behaving? And I would say, in adult, it comes out in various different ways. So whatever examples we give, these may resonate with you or not. But I think, like you might hear like somebody that breaks up before it gets too serious. Like, I want to avoid the potential of like, are we going to be moving in together? Are we actually going to monogamously date now? Because then that's where it gets really potentially scary for this person, because that's when I can be hurt. And so they avoid these getting deeper in the relationships because they don't want to be hurt.
Yeah, they prefer the self-sufficiency because that is more psychologically safe.
Yeah.
Than
that goes with that like positive view of themselves, where like, I can take care of it. I got it. Yeah.
So you might see that they start doing little, like some people, if you're dating somebody that kind of struggling with this, they do like little things and almost like they're self-sabotaging the relationship. Like maybe they're just showing up late for dates, or
like not really even being able to express emotions.
No,
or just being like, I just, that's not important to me. I mean, it's just maybe making excuses for that, or just feeling like really flat, unresponsive, not emotional, not able to connect in that way.
Very logical. You see very logical.
Yeah.
So somebody's coming at it emotional, and it's like, well, I don't understand why you would be feeling like it's fine. There's a lot of like, it's fine. They want things to be like that kind of status quo, like flat almost, is when I look at that dismissive. It's like take it or leave it. That's the safety, right? I can take it or leave it. And then we go into that avoidant. The avoidant is like shut it down. Like we see this when people are ghosting, right? In the dating world, like everything was going great. Everything was amazing. He was going to tell me that he loved me. I could feel it. And then like all of a sudden they're gone.
The second things get real, they're like, bye-bye.
Yeah, there's that fear.
Right.
There's the fear too. I think we didn't talk about this, but we can see that this can also come up when people have really controlling parents. So they've had a controlling parent. They have had somebody who's been in control of everything in their life. And so they are terrified to be in a relationship where somebody else controls them. So that's easier again to just shut it down. And there's almost sometimes that like they're doing their own thing. It doesn't need to be a bad thing, but it's like that hyper independence that we see. And like, I don't need other people. I'm fine.
Which can almost be used as like an excuse, where someone might see that as a positive thing. A partner might be like, well, they just like to be on their own and they like are really independent and they don't need much. But eventually intimacy is going to suffer, because the natural progression for any relationship is to get deeper into intimacy. A dismissive attached person is not going to want to do that. And so you kind of like just stay stagnant at this like level of connection that's very surface level, which can be, if you're with a partner that's needing more, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you can't get in. My husband is not anymore, but was very, I mean, obviously he still has flares, right? But that avoidant, and it was perfect because he toured all the time. So like you come home, you get close, and like just when it gets super close, you go back on tour. And for somebody like me who's been like an anxious avoidant, that was great for me too. Like there's a certain amount of safety that you have when you don't actually feel like you can totally trust another human because that's been wired in you.
Yeah.
To not do that.
Well, the other distinction is like, okay, so take that as a comparing it to a fearful avoidant person, where a fearful avoidant person wants a relationship, but they're scared. That's different from the dismissive, where they just have that, like Rebecca was saying, you're kind of like suspicious of people, you have a negative view of others, you're maybe cynical about love, and that you're then using that to just be like really independent, versus someone who's fearful is like, I really want to be, oh my gosh, I really want to be in a relationship. Oh my gosh, I love. They have that emotional need and they are aware of it, but they're so scared of going into that relationship. So in a nutshell, we've covered it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say too, like when you talk about all of these type of attachment styles, like they can be viewed, I think, as a flaw, like a character flaw, but they're not. It's not a character flaw.
Great point.
That it doesn't mean anything necessarily wrong with you. It means that's just the behaviors that you're having, and you can change your behaviors. So there are lots of ways to do that. You can read up more about your attachment style. You could go to see a therapist, go to a life coach, but I just want people to know, like, nothing is necessarily wrong with you. You are a human being.
You are, and you learn to adapt in your environment to survive, period. Nobody's saying like, I want to be disconnected from others. So I do think, when I think of like helpful tips and tricks that I love, the first thing you can do if you notice that you are dismissive of another's emotions is notice how often you dismiss your own emotions. How many times do you tell yourself to suck it up? How many times do you criticize yourself for crying? How many times do you apologize if you have an emotion? How many times do you hide? I mean, I used to do, like, I wasn't going to show anybody anything. Like, I'm good. I'll be for you all day, but I'm not. I'm fine. I've got it, And so when you can accept your own emotions and say, this is valid. So that's like something I had to learn to do myself. Like, of course you feel this way. Of course this is upsetting. Of course it feels scared to get close to somebody. Of course you want to be close to somebody. Of course you think you don't need them. Like all of these conflicting beliefs, of course. And when you can start validating yourself, you can start recognizing how often your inner critic, Joy, like we talked about earlier, your inner critic is invalidating you all day because that's the root of the attachment, right? So we want to start kind of increasing that awareness. So when you notice you're telling someone else to suck it up, I guarantee it, you're doing it to yourself 1,000 times worse. That's a little clue there that you have learned that emotions are not okay, when really the truth is that your emotions are valid. Emotions are meant to be felt, right? So that would be like one little thing you can start to do. And then we want to start taking little tiny steps to be vulnerable with people who are safe. And for me, that changed with therapy. When I could get in with my therapist and like start saying the things that I judged myself so harshly for, and my therapist was like, this is actually not that it's not a big deal, but it was like, I was like, oh my God, he's going to fire me. Like, I can't believe I said, it changes. You get to have a corrective emotional experience. We've talked about that. You have this horrible emotion that feels so vulnerable, feels so tender, feels so shameful, and somebody else holds space for you and mirrors that you're okay.
Again, I love what you said, Rebecca, around this is not a character flaw. This is information. As you were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize a lot of those patterns from when I was younger. And when I was in my 20s, I did that a lot. I know I've mentioned that before. I was like, I don't need anybody. And I think sometimes that can be seen as like, you view it as like a positive in yourself of like, I don't need anyone. Therefore, I'm self-sufficient. Like, I've mastered the art of like not caring, which is just not. That's not how it goes.
We get so much reinforcement the American way.
Mm-hmm.
You're so independent.
You're
Look at
so
that
independent.
child. They're so
oh my gosh, woman.
Nothing bothers you.
Yeah, you
girl boss.
You fell off your bike and you didn't cry. That's so amazing. You're so strong. And it's like, what? The kid's bleeding out. Like, this is a problem.
Oh my gosh, that is true.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Okay. So thank you, Laugh Cry Clubbers. Next week, we're going to talk about kind of what we talked about earlier with the Jeffrey Marsh discussion, which is our inner critic. And I'm going to repeat some of the of the exercise he had us go through, which was basically just asking like what our greatest fears are. So that's your homework, Laugh Cry Club people. Think about what your greatest fears are.
Are you going to do that on us, Joy?
Yeah, I am.
You are? Rebecca and I are going to be the patients?
Yeah, you're going to be the patients. We'll all share. Yeah, but
oh my God, so I'm not even going to do anything. I'm not even going to think about my inner critic.
Not going to think about
anything until our session because I want you to pull some stuff out of me.
Okay, great. Where it's going to happen. We're going to go deep. All right.
Oh, wow.
So get ready.
I'll pay my SIGs for that.
I'm going to have to go to Uranus and pick up some smokes.
Please wipe your feet before you enter.
I'm dying. I'm going to bring
oh
my
my God,
SIGs.
We're so inappropriate.
I'm going to bring my SIGs. All right, you guys, thank you for listening. Laugh Cry Club. You can follow us on socials and laughcryclub@gmail.com to submit any questions. Thank you so much. Love you all. Bye.
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 That's life, baby.